This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is precisely 1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Ramesh Peris and read by Chandima Virakon. Headlines. The Sri Lanka Army launches 24-hour vaccination drive amid President's request to expedite the program. The circular on recalling public servants to work from August published. The coronavirus recovery tally on the rise. The Treasury Secretary says the government had spent over 223 billion rupees on COVID control. The inter-provincial public transport commences from today. The non-biodegradable lunch sheets ban come into force from today. The police media spokesman says 73% of accidents are due to careless driving. In international news, millions across US at risk of eviction as coronavirus surges. In sports news, it's Tokyo 2020, the blue ribbon event of the Olympic athletics program, the men's 100-meter sprint final today. Local stories in detail. Sri Lanka began a 24-hour vaccination drive for the first time to administer the Oxford AstraZeneca doses newly arrived from Japan. The program is carried out by the Sri Lanka Army, the head of the National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 Outbreak, General Shavendra Silva. The drive commenced at the Viharamahadevi Park in Colombo at 8:30 a.m. today. The Army commander said the program will continue until further notice. Earlier in the week, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa pointed out the need to make people aware of the importance of vaccination and to get them involved in the vaccination program. The President instructed health officials to conduct a survey island-wide to detect people who have not yet been vaccinated. President Rajapaksa had emphasized the need to inoculate a higher percentage of people in all parts of the country before September in a systematic manner following the receipt of vaccines that have been ordered. Meanwhile, the newly arrived Oxford AstraZeneca jabs from Japan will be administered in 18 MOH offices, 5 in Kaluthara district and 15 in Gampaha district, as well as 13 hospitals and 8 selected locations in Colombo district, including the 24-hour centre at Viharamahadevi Park. The Ministry of Health said 330,868 COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered in the country as of yesterday. Furthermore, the ministry announced 2,154,206 individuals have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 in Sri Lanka thus far. The circular on recalling public servants for work from tomorrow has been published by Secretary to the Ministry of Public Services, Provincial Councils and Local Government, J.J. Ratnasiri. The Secretary to President P.B. Jayasundara officially informed the decision to Mr. Ratnasiri last Friday, decided to call all state sector employees back to work. The decision was taken with the intention of giving priority to restore normalcy in the public service as a majority of public servants have been vaccinated against COVID-19. In addition, all circulars issued permitting work from home arrangements and limited number of staff members to be present at the workplace on a rotation basis in a bid to control the spread of COVID-19 have also been revoked by the new circular. A total of 1,906 more COVID-19 patients have been discharged from hospitals and treatment centres as they have recovered from the virus infection, says the Ministry of Health. This brings the total number of recoveries in the country to 277,118. Sri Lanka has confirmed as many as 306,666 cases of COVID-19 to date. According to the epidemiology unit's data, 25,164 virus-infected persons are currently under medical care. Meanwhile, the death toll now stands at 4,380. The Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, R. Artigala, revealed that the government has so far spent over 223 billion rupees on the treatment and welfare of COVID-infected and quarantined people. By June 2021, the government has spent 53 billion rupees for all COVID-related expenses, including treatment of COVID patients, quarantine, dry food bags, and allowances of 5,000 rupees for those infected with COVID except vaccination. In addition to this amount, the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, citing statistics, said the government has so far spent over $110 million to purchase COVID vaccines. The Secretary to the Ministry of Finance made this observation while participating in a discussion organized by the Government Information Department recently on economic management in the face of the epidemic. All interprovincial bus and train services will be resumed from today in accordance with health instructions. The State Minister of Transport, Dilum Amnugam, said that instructions have been given to operate buses limiting passengers intake to the seat capacity of the buses. Speaking further in this regard, he stated that buses and trains as well as private passenger transport buses will function to provide services to the public servants who are called back to work from tomorrow. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Sri Lanka Transport Board, Kingsley Ranawaka, stated that all SLTB-owned interprovincial and provincial buses will be used for this purpose. The National Transport Commission stated that the provincial councils have been instructed to operate interprovincial private buses from today. Furthermore, the General Manager of Railways, Dhammika Jayasundara, said that trains will be operated between provinces on the instructions of the Secretary of Transport. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sri Lanka Insurance, like a father, like a mother.
Continuing with the local stories, Sri Lanka's ban on all types of non-degradable lunch sheets will be implemented from today. The government of Sri Lanka imposed a ban on the manufacturing, distribution, sale or use of non-degradable lunch sheets. Previously, a grace period of a month was granted to sell the lunch sheets that had already been manufactured. However, the manufacturing and distribution of polythene lunch sheets were completely forbidden during that period. The Minister of Environment stated that the Central Environmental Authority and the Consumer Affairs Authority have launched special operations to find out whether non-degradable lunch sheets are still in production. The ministry further stated that the law will be strictly enforced against anyone who manufactures and distributes them in defiance of these orders. A pension scheme for minors was launched over the weekend by the State Minister of Gem and Jewellery Related Industries, Lohan Ratwatte. The State Minister said the pension scheme for minors will be implemented through the Welfare Board. With the objective of decentralizing services of the National Gem and Jewellery Authority for the convenience of the gem industrialist, a new regional sub-office was opened in Alahara, Laggala yesterday under the patronage of the State Minister. 1.5 million saplings have been planted throughout the country thus far under the Husma Dena Thuru tree planting program. The Environment Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that the Husma Dena Thuru national tree planting program has become very popular in many parts of the country and many parties have appreciated its objective. Under this program, a target was set to plant 2 million saplings in the next 4 years. It is expected to increase the forestry coverage of the country by 30% by the year 2030. National Breastfeeding Week begins today. The director of the Family Health Bureau, Dr. Chitramali De Silva, said a number of programs will be organized to promote breastfeeding. Dr. De Silva noted the Bureau will organize several programs from today to the 7th of August to promote and uplift breastfeeding by mothers. She added challenges related to breastfeeding were created through situations that arose during the pandemic. However, Dr. De Silva requested that a mother be supported by her family, peers and colleagues to breastfeed newborns. To end the local news, the headlines again. The Sri Lanka Army launches 24-hour vaccination drive amid President's request to expedite the program. The circular on recalling public servants to work from August published. The coronavirus recovery tally on the rise. The Treasury Secretary says the government had spent over 223 billion rupees on COVID control. The interprovincial public transport commences from today. The non-biodegradable lunch sheets ban come into force from today. The police media spokesman says 73% of accidents are due to careless driving. That ends the local news.
The largest bonus declared in the history of the Sri Lankan insurance industry. Sri Lanka Insurance Grand Bonus, an unmatchable bonus of 8.6 billion rupees only for Sri Lanka Insurance life policy holders from the nation's largest insurer. Call 0112-357-357 for more details. Sri Lanka Insurance, like a father, like a mother.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And on the main news story, the police media spokesman, Senior DIG Ajit Rohana, stated that 9 deaths due to road accidents were reported yesterday. 385 road accidents were reported in Sri Lanka between the 24th of July and 30th of July. This is an average of close to 50 accidents per day. 51 persons have been killed and 260 injured in these accidents between the 24th of July and the 30th of July. 108 are in critical condition and 152 have received minor injuries. It has been revealed that 73% of these accidents are due to careless driving. According to the police spokesman, the highest number of accidents has been reported in the western, northwestern and southern provinces over the weekends and on Wednesdays. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watch Light. The Health Ministry's National Dengue Control Unit reports a significant increase in the number of dengue patients across the country during the first half of this year compared to last year. The NDCU mentioned several districts in the country have been identified as dengue hotspots, and dengue cases are more prevalent in Colombo, Gampaha, Kalutara, Kurunagala, Kandy, Matara, Ratnapura, Kagalla, Gaul and Hambantota districts than in other districts. The National Dengue Control Unit points out that there is an increase in the number of dengue patients due to changes in the circulating virus groups, and the public should be especially vigilant in this regard. Hence, the National Dengue Control Unit urged the public to follow health instructions against both dengue fever and COVID-19 to prevent the emergence of any complex situation from the dual public health concerns. That ends Watch Light. Moving on to the world news, the headlines. Millions across US at risk of eviction as coronavirus surges. Afghanistan's Herat under pressure amid ongoing Taliban assault. Kerry Johnson and Boris Johnson expecting second child. Millions of people across the United States could be forced out of their homes as a nationwide moratorium on evictions is set to expire at midnight on Saturday amid a spike in coronavirus infections. President Joe Biden this week urged Congress to extend the 11-month ban on removal after a recent Supreme Court ruling meant the White House could not do so. More than 3.6 million Americans are at risk of eviction, some in a matter of days, as nearly $47 billion in federal housing aid to the states during the pandemic has been slow to make it into the hands of renters and landlords owed payments. Turkish intense fighting in Afghanistan's western province of Herat continued for a third day as the Taliban continued an assault to take the province's eponymous capital, home to hundreds of thousands of people. Residents fear that the group could enter Herat, the nation's third largest city, any day. The latest battles in Herat comes as the Taliban also tries to inch closer to the cities of Kandahar and Lashkar Gah in the south. The Taliban launched a sweeping offensive across Afghanistan in early May as the US-led foreign forces began their final withdrawal. Kerry and Boris Johnson are expecting a second child months after a miscarriage that left her heartbroken. The Prime Minister's wife, aged 33, announced the news on Instagram, saying she was hoping for a rainbow baby this Christmas. She wrote that while she felt blessed to be pregnant again, she had also felt like a bag of nerves. Mrs. Johnson gave birth to a couple's son, Wilfred, in April 2020. To end the world news, the headlines again. Millions across US at risk of eviction as coronavirus surges. Afghanistan's Herat under pressure amid ongoing Taliban assault. Kerry Johnson and Boris Johnson expecting second child. That ends world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melba RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melba RB500, number one in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Moving on to development news. A Bar and Company Private Limited, also known as BARS, will bring down a team of experts from Switzerland to study the country's agriculture ecosystem to provide scientific and practical solutions for an organic approach. They are due to arrive today. The 10-day visit will include meetings and diverse interactions with all key stakeholders, including visits to sites and facilities that influence organic agriculture. The expert team will also conduct first-hand training in composting and organic farming. That ends development news.
Development News was brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melba RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melba RB500, number one in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Moving on to sports news, it's Tokyo 2020. The Blue Ribbon event of the Olympic Athletics program and the event everyone would normally be paying top dollar to attend will get underway in Tokyo today. Thankfully, the power of technology means people will not miss out on watching the spectacle in some shape or form. And with Usain Bolt having sprinted off into the sunset, there will be plenty of attention on this one to see who will be picking up the baton from the Jamaican. For the first time since Athens 2004, the world will see a new Olympic 100-meter champion. Meanwhile, the Chinese delegation added 2 more gold medals to their Tokyo Olympics medal tally, bringing the gold medal haul to 21 at the end of day 8. Hosts Japan remain in second spot with 17 gold medals. The US also boasts of 17 silver and 13 bronze medals. The Russian Olympic Committee has 11 gold medals with an overall tally of 37 medals. Australia rounds up the 5th spot with 10 gold medals. That ends sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
On business news, Suvadarani, an international Ayurvedic magazine which aims to highlight Sri Lankan Ayurvedic practices to a global audience, was launched at Temple Trees recently. The magazine is fully sponsored by Bio-Extracts that produces Ayurvedic herbal medicines under the brand name Baraka. That ends business news.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, The Banker magazine has selected Bank of Ceylon among the 1,000 best banks in the world. The general manager of Bank of Ceylon has thanked customers of the bank and the staff in connection with the recognition. Bank of Ceylon has branches in Maldives, Chennai, Seychelles, and the branch in London has been in existence for more than 50 years, serving expatriates. That ends economic news.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And finally on the weather report, several spells of showers will occur in the Sabaragamuwa and western provinces and in the Nuwara Eliya, Kandy, Gaul and Matra districts. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the Uva province and in the Batiklo and Ampara districts during evening or at night. Fairly strong winds up to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected in the western slopes of the central hills and in the Hambantota district. That ends the weather report.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And to conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines again. The Sri Lanka Army launches 24-hour vaccination drive amid President's request to expedite the program. The circular on recalling public servants to work from August published. The coronavirus recovery tally on the rise. The Treasury Secretary says the government had spent over 223 billion rupees on COVID control. The interprovincial public transport commences from today. The non-biodegradable lunch sheets ban come into force from today. The police media spokesman says 73% of accidents are due to careless driving. On international news, millions across US at risk of eviction as coronavirus surges. In sports news, it's Tokyo 2020, the blue ribbon event of the Olympic athletics program, the men's 100-meter sprint final today. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.